This is your reminder that when you hear, red pill content, I hate women, women need to stay in their place, women are bitches, women, this and that, I'm going to keep my woman a slave and this and that, or I ought to slap the hell out of a woman, that kind of stuff. When you hear that kind of red pill rhetoric, and it gets much darker than what I'm saying, I'm just censoring a little bit. When you hear that red pill rhetoric, what you're hearing is someone who's soft launching their gayness. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. And I wanted to come on here and say that, and I don't mean this to be insensitive to anybody out there, but whenever you hear misogyny, strong misogyny, misogynoir, people that are publicly telling you that they're okay with perpetrating violence against women and in most cases children as well. So you can sort of lump that in there, and that everyone should have to bow down to me and I'm a dictator and all of this kind of stuff. What I have found, especially, working in prisons, and I've said this before, what I have found is that these men that spew this rhetoric, they are soft launching gayness, meaning that they are basically telling you, I hate women, I hate everything about them, but I'm cool with my bros though. But this is a way for me to say it and look cool and clump together under group think and group polarization. I'm going to lump myself in with men who also believe this red pill rhetoric. They're basically telling you about themselves. If they don't like women, what do they like? Oh, the only person you respect, the only person you listen to is another man who's spewing red pill rhetoric. It becomes so very cult-like. And that is what you have, is you have these men that are angry about their own, demons and things like that. And they get in this cult with other angry men and they just sort of expand on each other exponentially, and because it becomes more powerful when I have other men sort of co-sign on this violence and this aggression and these tactics that I'm weaponizing against people that are vulnerable or people that I view as less than. I become more powerful and I feel more godlike and I feel like I got a bunch of bros. Well, what else does that remind you of, right? And so whenever you have that, if you're at home with that, and there's quite a few of you that watch me and some of you that maybe don't even watch me, but you're sitting at home with somebody right now that's got his nasty feet up on that table with his shoes on, is throwing his plate and, abusing you left and right, stealing your money, doing all these things to you to show that he doesn't respect you. He's okay with doing it in private. And now many are okay with doing it in public, such as a recent person who was shown punching a woman in public. There's been many men that are punching women, slapping women in public, choking women out, and talking violently to their women, disrespectfully, spitting in their women's faces. There's lots of video coverages of famous celebrities doing that. And I let Dr. Jones be the first one to tell you, when someone's doing that, they're soft launching. That's what they're telling you. I'm not okay with my sexuality. I'm not okay with myself. And in a few years, they're going to be a different character. You won't even recognize them, but along the way, they are making women pay. And unfortunately, many are paying with their lives because men like this are extremely dangerous and pathological. They're angry with themselves because they can't be authentic with who they need to be and what they want to be. And they're pissed off at you because you can be that person. And so what am I going to do? I'm going to beat your ass along the way. Unfortunately, that's what they do. I'm going to tell you that pipeline to how it goes. They do that, they do that, they beat you, they do all these things to you. And then when somebody finally holds them accountable and they go to jail and then prison, that's when the change up happens, and you could see it. And I worked with men long enough to know that I could clock it based on their charges. The more violent they are, I mean, because some of them, they do the slapping, the hitting, the all of that kind of stuff. But then you got people that torture their victims. You got people that dismember and do all these types of things. I can clock it and tell you almost, you know, and this isn't me being braggadocious. I'm just telling you and I'm warning you that there's nothing you could do to save a person who doesn't want a connection with you, who hates you for being you. And it could be, they could hate you for the simplest things. They could hate you for breathing. They could hate you for having family that loves you. They could hate you for having a job. They could hate you for having good credit. All of the things that, make you you and that make you special and just make you a normal functioning person of society. It becomes Everything becomes a personal slight against them if you are and when you are a woman. And when they start deviating to that right wing stuff, and they start talking about, I'll kill a woman who does that, or I'll kill you, get out of there. If I can make any recommendation, you need to get out of there, because there's nothing you could do to change that, save him, or do anything. He doesn't even want you. And the more he joins in solidarity with other men who talk like that and who spew that rhetoric, he's telling you what he's about. Don't take Dr. Jones's word for it. Just listen to the stuff that they say, and you will soon see. Unfortunately, you want to be able to do that before you're 6 feet under the ground, because these men don't play around with their violence and aggression towards women. 9.99 times out of 10, having worked with men who are offenders in a number of ways, if they are this violent, this aggressive, this misogynistic, they hate you, they can't, treat you with basic common decency and respect, there's problems that they have with their sexuality and they're angry about it, but they're not going to talk about it. They're not going to do the work. They're not going to go to therapy until they're forced, which is when they would have to come see somebody like me in prison, and then I get to deal with all of that stuff. But that's fine. That's what I got paid to do. You're not paid to do that. So you're practicing out of the scope of your job if you sit there and do that. Plus, you're putting your life at risk. I had, there were custody officers that can help keep people like that in line. So you want to be careful with that.